For 3 weeks, Norway lived a dream that footballing countries of 5.5 million people are simply not allowed to have. Their first World Cup in 28 years, a striker on fire, a whole nation rowing an invisible Viking ship through the streets. They knocked out Brazil, with 2 goals from Erling Haaland. And in Miami, on Saturday night, they stood 90 minutes away from a World Cup semi-final. And then it ended. Not with a clean defeat, not with a better team simply being better. It ended with a ball that appeared to hit a wire suspended above the pitch, a goal that half the planet is still arguing about, and a Norwegian team surrounding a referee, screaming that they had just been robbed on the biggest night of their lives. This is the story of how Norway's fairy tale died in the fog. Let's set the stage. Norway against England, World Cup quarterfinal. On one side, the Romantics team of the tournament, riding the greatest run in their history. On the other, England, one of the giants, expected to win, and not exactly loved for the drama that seems to follow them at World Cups. And for a glorious spell, it looked like the fairy tale was going to carry on regardless, because in the 36th minute, Norway did it again. Andreas Schjelderup, from the tightest of angles, saw his effort clip the post and roll in. 1-0, Norway. The underdogs, in front, against England, in a World Cup quarter-final. A country of 5.5 million people was, for a few minutes, 45 minutes away from a semi-final. And that is exactly the moment the tournament reached up and yanked the story out of their hands. First half stoppage time. England are pressing. Norway's goalkeeper, Ørjan Nyland, launches a long ball forward. A routine clearance, the kind you see 100 times a game. Except this one climbs high into the Miami night and appears to clip the cable of the overhead Spidercam, the robotic camera that flies above the pitch. And on the replay, you can see it. The ball's flight seems to stutter, to change mid-air, as if it brushed something that should never have been in its path. The ball drops. England pounce on it. Anthony Gordon drives to the byline and cuts it back, and Jude Bellingham sweeps it home. 1-1. In first half stoppage time. And Norway lose their minds. And here is why they lose their minds. Because they might, according to the letter of the law, be completely right. The laws of the game are clear on this. If the ball strikes an object that is not part of the field of play, the referee is supposed to stop the game and restart with a drop ball. A camera cable strung above the pitch is not part of the field of play. So if that ball touched that wire, the goal should not exist. Nyland, Haaland, and the manager Ståle Solbakken surround the French referee, Clément Turpin, at the break, demanding answers. And the answer they got is where this gets truly modern and truly strange. Because FIFA had a defense ready, and it did not come from a referee, or a linesman, or a slow-motion replay. It came from inside the ball. This is the tournament of the connected ball, a match ball with a sensor in the middle of it that registers a spike. FIFA literally calls it a heartbeat every single time the ball is touched. And FIFA's ruling was this. The sensor showed no spike while the ball was in the air. No heartbeat. Therefore, in their words, no evidence that the ball touched the wire. Therefore, the goal stands. A stadium full of people watching a replay of a ball visibly bending in mid-flight, and a chip buried inside that ball, calmly insisting that nothing happened at all. Believe the technology, or believe your own eyes? Norway knew exactly which one they believed. And then, because apparently one gut punch was not enough, came the second. Just before the hour mark, Norway thought they had done it again. Torbjørn Hegem bundled the ball into the England net. 2-1 Norway, the dream roaring back to life. And then the flag of modern football went up. VAR. A review. And the goal was chalked off. Erling Haaland, the referee decided, had fouled England's Elliot Anderson somewhere in the build-up. Now, unlike the cable, that one is genuinely defensible. There was contact, and by the current, painfully strict standard, you can understand the call. But look at the sequence of the night. In the space of about 20 minutes, Norway had a goal given against them that they are convinced came off a wire, and a goal of their own wiped off the board. Two of the biggest decisions of their entire World Cup, both landing somehow on exactly the same side. And after that, you almost knew how it was going to go. It stayed 1-1 to 90 minutes, extra time, and barely 3 minutes in, Jude Bellingham struck again, pouncing on a spilled save from Morgan Rogers to make it 2-1, his second of the night. And that was that. England into the semi-finals. Norway and their beautiful, impossible fairy tale out. You could see it written on their faces. Haaland, who had carried this team on his back for a month, standing with his hands on his head. Solbakken, who days earlier had called their run the night of a lifetime, now trying to explain the unexplainable. A bench full of players who had knocked out Brazil and dared to believe, just staring at the turf. This was not the look of a team that had been outclassed and knew it. This was the look of a team that felt something had been taken from them. So, were Norway actually robbed? Let's be fair, because this is not as simple as the anger makes it feel. FIFA are not lying. The sensor data is the sensor data, and if the ball genuinely did not touch the wire, then it is a perfectly good goal, and everyone needs to calm down. And the disallowed Norway goal really did have a Haaland foul in it that a lot of referees would give. You can build an honest case that England won this fair and square, but you can just as easily build the other one. Because the replay of that goal kick is deeply, deeply uncomfortable, the drop ball law exists precisely for this situation. And when the two enormous calls of a World Cup quarterfinal both go against the smaller team on the same night, in a game they were leading, you cannot be surprised that a nation feels cheated. It is not that a mistake was made. It is that every single doubt broke in one direction. And that is the strange, bitter irony sitting on top of all of it. This is supposed to be the most technologically advanced World Cup ever staged. A chip in the ball, cameras on every blade of grass, semi-automated everything. All of it built, we were promised, to kill these arguments forever, to make the game finally, coldly fair. And instead, it produced a quarterfinal that ended a nation's dream inside a cloud of doubt so thick that FIFA had to put out a statement about a wire. The technology did not end the argument. It just gave everybody a brand new one. What do you trust? The heartbeat of the ball or the evidence of your own eyes? And Norway are not the first team left staring at a screen this tournament, wondering what on earth just happened to them. This is the same World Cup where a late Croatia goal was chalked off in its own storm of controversy. The same tournament where decision after decision has hinged on frame-by-frame reviews that somehow never seem to deliver consistency. Only fresh arguments. That is the part that should worry everyone. Not that the machines occasionally get it wrong. Humans always did too. It is that the sport keeps promising the technology has finally made things fair, and then keeps producing nights exactly like this one. Norway's run deserved a cleaner ending than this. The 28-year wait, the demolition of Brazil, Haaland level with Messi and Mbappé, an entire country rowing its Viking ship across the world. A story that good deserved to end with a proper goodbye, not a freeze frame of a ball bending over a camera wire. Whether it touched that cable or not, a nation of 5.5 million people is going to spend the next 4 years absolutely certain that it did. And somewhere in Norway tonight, nobody is rowing. They are just watching one goal kick, over and over and over again, waiting for a ball to come down where it was always supposed to.